government has done is the government makes sure you get a letter no matter where the hell it's at without charging you for that because you already paid for it. It's the government that provides the schools, which is not in your U.S. Constitution. Your U.S. Constitution don't say nothing about no guarantee for no education. So we would go to old pure so-called capitalism, that criminal system. You'd be paying for kindergarten, how that looks. So you believe too in, do you support the concept of free education for every child in America?
I do not.
I think you do.
I do not. Have you ever talked to me? What the hell? Like, is this news to you?
I never heard you on that tape. So the audience get to hear it for itself. So Roger doesn't believe every 5-year-old in America. Roger just said he believes that a 5-year-old gets an education based on their parents' status. That's your future, America.
Hold on, Malcolm. Let me just say this. I don't believe in this idea of positive rights at all. And I think that the people that read from the books that you're reading from, and I would encourage you to read books from people like Walter Williams and Thomas Sowell. They look just like you.
What about Michael Harrington?
Hold on.
Okay.
According to you, people that look like you must have all the right ideas. So you should go to Thomas Sowell and Walter Williams and see what they have to say about some of these issues. But no, I don't believe in positive rights. Positive rights, in my opinion, don't exist. If your asserted right requires taking from somebody else, it's not a right at that point, because it's certainly you're stealing from some to give to others. So no, I don't believe that healthcare is a right. I don't believe that education's a right. I don't believe that housing is a right. I don't believe any of that. I believe that you have the right to be free and succeed or fail on your own merits, and you should have equal protection under the law. Outside of that, no. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
So tell me about the 5-year-old who can't work and they don't have a right to school. You're not escaping the 5-year-old. You can hide behind all that rhetoric if you want to. The audience wants to. Well, tell me about the 5-year-old who can't work, might not know their name on a bad day, and what rights do they have for an education, Raj? Explain it. I'm listening.
I would want to get educated, not turn on.
No, let Raj explain the 5-year-old's rights.
Listen. You're not. You think that you can make an emotional appeal?
It's not emotional. It's educational.
Hold on. No. Listen. What you're trying to do, and I'm going to fight right through it. I'm going to show the whole audience how to fight through nonsensical arguments of appeals to emotion. Here's the thing: the education system that you're advocating for exists, and it's broken. The education system that I'm advocating for, we can spot in other parts of the world, and it works. And so the thing that you're trying to do is trap a 5-year-old into a broken system. And what I'm saying is that you're pro-slavery when it comes to the education system, and I am the abolitionist. And so in this regard, I am on the right side of history, and you are just a slave master.
You didn't answer the question, Raj. I'm not a follower of Trump. I know when a question's not been answered. I'm a follower of Trump.
You want the honest answer? You want the honest answer? Here's the honest answer.
Great.
Here's the honest answer. You allow the free market to do what the free market can do better than the government, and you allow them to address the needs. Is there a rational self-interest in having our children educated? Absolutely. But is there also a rational self-interest in keeping the government away from our children? Absolutely. So what we should be doing is we should be creating the same way people say that there should be a separation between church and state. Everybody nods.
Malcolm doesn't even like to mute his mic. He's the most disrespectful, indignant, psychotic, laughing Schwartz.
I'll leave it at that. They can hear. I ain't got to say it again. They know an answer. You're a politician now. They know
I just answered
non-answer
the question.
when they hear it. No, you didn't.
I just
You
answered
said
the
the
question.
market should do it.
You hear that?
You seem to think that government is the solution to all problems.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all.
You think
I
that
do
it's
think
the
the government has
solution
a
to
right
that
to protect
5-year-old
every
problem.
5-year-old. Yep, I do believe that.
You ignore the fact that that 5-year-old is trapped into a failing system. In fact, you want it to be compulsory to send that kid to a failing system.
So let me ask you a question. If it's a failing system, let me ask you a question. So you're suggesting that everyone who, say, let's see, built the internet all went to private schools? Because if they didn't,
Built the internet.
Produced people who have built electric, who have built airplanes. I can list them. So the false notion that every single public school is failing is a lie, and everybody in the audience know it because some of us went through it. I learned a lot from the public school. And I know what I would have gotten if had I not been for the public school. The grand total of nothing with the racist country I'm from and that you're from. So you won't answer the question about the children's parents who have no money. What should we do for their education? Don't tell me no market trouble rubbish. Answer the question, Mr. Politician. What do you do for the 5-year-old whose parents can't afford the jacked up price from the market? But
yeah, it's very simple. You don't send them to an indoctrination camp that hijacks their children. You do not do that. And you certainly don't send their parents to jail for not sending the kids to school.
I agree on that.
The system that you are advocating for is a system of slavery. It's
an alternative.
It's a system that is proven to fail. We are not competitive when it comes to public education in this country, and the fact that you're advocating for the fact that you're advocating for the mediocrity and your example of why you should do it is because there's going to be a family that can't afford to send their 5-year-old to school. Let me finish. I let you finish. I don't know why you do this. At the end of the day, you have to be
memo
based on its results. Our public system does not work. It does not work. Now, how would you get that 5-year-old kid to a school in a private system when
charity?
If their parents are underemployed? By the way, I think that if we embrace the free market policy, the chances of those people going to work would increase dramatically. But here's the way that it would be done historically. You would have private charities, and you would have a community that would make sure that they take care of their own. And you could afford to do that when you're not sending all of your money to the government for failed programs around, erect these systems that you and I both know don't work. So you take that money away from that public school system, and you start allowing people to have their own money. Not to mention, not only will most families be able to afford a better education for their kid, they'll be able to donate to make sure that underprivileged kids do get the opportunity to get a better education. Unless what you want to do is standardize mediocrity, which is the system we have.
Yeah, well, I wish we had a printout of everything you just said and we put in the newspaper. Because those 5-year-olds I'm talking about, they might have to be hospitalized for laughing so hard at that foolishness that you just submitted. And it wasn't an answer because you don't have an answer as to what we would do. First of all, let me just say this, because where I'm always, with no exception, coming from is race-based. Hear me out. If every black person disappeared, and every Mexican, every non-European American, the government would make sure we were gone for 30 days. Are they really gone? Here's what would happen, Raj. You would then get a great public school system. They would enact national health care for every single human being in the country. Prison reform would happen. Are they gone for real? Because we know, you might not, who the target of all that so-called stuff you're talking. Flip it, you're lying. You're just outright lying, but that's what lying trumpers do. There are thousands of cities in this country that run every single day, and all the electric comes on by some miracle that's not a miracle. The roads are paved, judicial actions are taken, and people live normal lives. And 80-90% of the people running those systems that makes our lives so smooth came from public education. It's the most foolishness you ever heard of. The newspapers that we read, some of us who still do, the people who built this internet, the people in the military. So think about what you're saying. If what you just said is true, and the majority of people in the military, that vaunted thing that almost all Americans are forced to celebrate even if they don't believe it, then the military is incompetent and is full of a bunch of ignoramuses, but it turns out they're not. The airline pilots, how we all get on and go to sleep because we ain't worried about crashing. Most of those people. The doctors, the list goes on and on. So it's just outright, utter ignorance. And I speak from a different place than perhaps you on education because I've taught the system for the past 30 years. As we speak, I'm sitting in the classroom. Thank God my students are not here today. Sitting in the classroom as we speak, so I know where all these faculty, been at Ohio State, I know where those people come from. The overwhelming majority went to a public school because contrary to your foolishness, there's not a place of incompetence. It's a place of criminality. You got the wrong word. It's not incompetent. It's very criminal in designing what it is. But public schools, thank God for the United States in this regard. The government has provided public schools, public parks, clean water, and for the most part, a very functional society based on educating the masses of people. And Roger wants to take that and put it in the hand of a bunch of capitalists and exploit the hell out of you, but you're not going to let it happen. Thank God for you. This is Malcolm. And that'd be my last response on it, Roger. You know better, but you have to go here in these long rants and tell them these falsehoods. This is Malcolm.
So I want to offer this.
Hold on, guys. Let me just say. There are some moments where I wish I could record these rooms. I know that when I do, that you guys don't speak as freely, so that's why I don't record them. But God, the amount of nonsense that I just heard over the last 4 minutes. Anyways, you guys go ahead and jump in. This is fucking hilarious. Go on.
So I did want to offer for submission. So, Malcolm, there are parts of America that are almost 100% white, and there are very few minorities, right? So we can point to West Virginia, which is 96% white, and none of these things that you're pointing to in your statement exists, right? Education is garbage, job opportunity is garbage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So, like, this whole notion that if you just remove the brown people, the government will magically create these wonderful outcomes for white people. There are multiple instances in this country, not just West Virginia, but across the entire Midwest, where we know that is not reality. And a lot of these parts of America are still close to 100% white, right? So this is where you kind of lose me with the extremism, because I'm like, we know that this is not the case, and it's just like living off in La La Land. But you do you, bro. I'm done.
I mean, that was the best advocacy against public school. The lack of logic in all of those statements were phenomenal. I'll just pick up the last one because I just don't have the patience to go back through all of them. But saying that the military works and that the airlines work, by the way, when you started off, it was like how the government is failing in the United States is terrible. But the fact that 90% of them are public school, because that's a system we have. So you're just advocating for humans. You're not showing that it's better. And then when Roger showed you a better system, you turned it down and said, show me a better system. So, yeah, this is the problem with public school. We're not teaching our children how to think logically at all.
Amen.
Hey,
I see down in the chat we're talking about private schools and public schools and home schools. I think public school builds character, and there shouldn't be any kind of vouchers or anything like that. I think homeschoolers are weird.
Homeschoolers are weird.
Hey, Victoria, why don't you come up to the stage and let's talk about how public schools are funded. My guess is that you're going to stay in the chat and you're going to limit your comments to one sentence at a time. Come up here and debate me about public school funding versus private school funding, and I'm going to guess that you won't do it, and if you did do it, you would regret it instantly, but you're welcome to come up here.
Roger, well, I love my
To be fair, she's usually in the chat. Like, she's not someone who, she's most of the time is her in the chat. Like, she's like Christine, chat word.
No. She comes up on stages when she feels like she has something to say. I doubt that she knows as much as she claims to know in the chat. And I've actually experienced putting a kid through public school, private school, and homeschool. And I'd like to fact check her because her and I understand the area that we're both from. And so I would like to be able to bring her up, make sure I can correct any falsehood that she might have or any misunderstandings that she has about how the system actually works and be able to correct her on some things that she's unaware of. But I don't think she's going to come up.
She don't need to. Foolishness you saying she can bring a fifth grader up here.
She's just the word.
Public library system is socialism at its best. Public library system, public school system is the best features of the United States government. The socialistic aspects of the government is the best. We just know public transportation. Stop that nonsense, man.
Stop that nonsense. Stop that nonsense.
Malcolm, before you go on there, let me explain something to you, right? When Google moves a campus into a city, the city freaks out and it's like, oh my God, all these new employees are going to come. We're going to get all this tax revenue. We better do something. We better create these services. We're going to ramp up in them, and their employees get picked up and driven to work in style, and they do it a lot cheaper than the government does. Why? Because there's not inefficiencies in the private market. And so Google knows how to transport their people better to their office than the government ever has. So explain to me why Google finds it more advantageous to buy a fleet of buses for their employees than to rely on this public transportation that you were about to go on a diatribe to protect.
Oh, real simple. Oh, was that a little softball? Because they only have to transport their employees. How about we invert it, Mr. Roger, and make them have to take people to the hospital, to the grocery store, and everywhere else that's not Google. Show me their efficiency there. No questions. Damn. Man, somebody help this dude. I told you I'm sending my fifth graders for you. You give me stupid questions like that. Stop it.
Malcolm, they do take their employees to the hospital and to the grocery
No, their
store.
employees take the whole city. Like the public systems has to take everybody. Make Google take everybody and then tell me about it.
Roger, is this even worth it? This is such juvenile stupidity.
Well, then the whole country's juvenile because they're doing what I'm saying. Not what you say. And by the way,
Hold
Google
on,
came into
Malcolm,
existence in 98. How was people getting around in 78?
Malcolm,
Oh my
what
God.
percentage of people do you think go to the hospital on a bus? Oh, I didn't think you'd want to answer that one. That better be a long phone call.
But I do agree that the library and the parks are socialism at its best, and that's the word.
Yeah, I agree.
Say about
Parks and
socialism.
libraries.
They are
You also
socialism
make
at its best.
gymnasiums.
But
I didn't think we were going to be entertained by such foolishness this morning, but I'm loving it.
I pretty much expect
Don't come after the
foolishness at this
libraries.
point.
We'll fight you if you attack the libraries.
Unpopular opinion, but like the way Malcolm is saying, like they come from a race base, like you guys not putting race involved in it, so like he comes from a different perspective, so it just sounds different because like Nicholas was here talking about West Virginia. West Virginia is all white. Why they not doing that? Because if they did it in West Virginia, they would have to do it everywhere, and they're not willing to do it everywhere. So therefore, that argument was pretty silly. But like you got to include race, and you got to include race. I know people, it ain't everything about race, but everything is about race though.
So, Hakima, you got to bring some proof to that. Like you can't just say it's race and therefore it's not being done. So right now we have a broken government system. We all admit to that. We have a proposal of a capitalist system that can work. Now your argument is the government would work. It's just racist. Someone's got to bring a proof to that, can't you?
There's some systems around. Like, it was a Jenny. I think she's a model here. Like she was talking about. I think she's from Sweden. She talking about how Sweden is, how they teach to a profession. Like by 19, her son got CDLs and this and that. But she said it is high taxes, but it all balances out. There's no college debt and none of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's because it's an all-white country. You know what I'm saying? They the same thing Malcolm described. If all the brown people left, they would get just like Sweden real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like this country is so diverse that.
Why is it a all-white country? Because they don't allow immigration. You want to have a socialist system as large as Sweden, you have to not allow any immigration. Is that what you're proposing for America?
No, I definitely agree that America is different in the fact that immigration is involved, though. But I'm saying, but if you're gonna allow immigration, just treat everybody the same. You know what I'm saying? Don't have these different groups. Treat different. I mean, keeping hierarchy. I mean, just treat everyone fairly. Give the exact same thing to everyone else. There shouldn't be no discrimination in law. There shouldn't be no discrimination in school. Like you in this poor neighborhood, your taxes is not enough to. Fuck that. Fund the schools equally. You know what I'm saying? That shit is silly that you're going to fund some public schools more than other public schools based on these imaginary lines that don't even really exist. Just fund the schools equally.
Well, you jump into a new topic. Fund the school equally, we can talk about. But my point is, if you have a large socialist net, that's basically a forced government insurance policy. So if you're going to do that, you have to keep the insured the same. You can't allow new people. Like, I have insurance on my house. I'm paying it. I hope I'll never use it. If my house burns down, they'll pay for it. They're not going to allow me to join the day after my house burns down. So that you cannot have immigration and the socialist policies like Sweden. First of all, you have to tax the middle class super high, but if you think it evens out, fine. But you can't allow immigration. That's why Sweden has very little immigration. That's why it's so white. They're not allowing anyone in. America is not that type of country. So if you want to seal our borders completely, I mean, I don't think it's a good idea, but you can't. It's inverted what happened. It's not that Sweden's white, therefore it has socialism. Sweden is socialist, therefore it's white.
You mentioned taxes. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but I would argue, based on my limited understanding, that America is taxed just as high as Sweden when you add up all the taxes.
No.
You know, can you give me some numbers? Like, cause she said she got a 30% tax rate. That's what she said. But you add up income tax, payroll tax.
How much is she making?
She said she was on the lower end. She's not high grade. She's
on the lower end, the tax is around 10% in America, because you're going to pay 7.5% on payroll tax, and then you're not going to pay any income tax. Most states you won't pay any state tax, and depending on the state is how much sales tax you'll pay. I don't know if she's counting GST in her 30%.
Yeah, that's absurd to say that Americans pay more. That's crazy. So, and we should pay less even than what we pay today. I think when people complained when they saw the taxes that Donald Trump paid, I think they complained for the wrong reason. They complained and said he should pay more taxes. I think the real answer is to say, hey, that's not fair. We should pay what he's paying. And I think that's the real solution here. And then people will say, well, how are you going to fund government? Well, why don't we redefine what government is supposed to pay for? Maybe if we looked at the other side of the ledger called government spending and said, we don't need to pay for that, we don't need to pay for that, we don't need to pay for that, all of a sudden we would have to collect less tax revenue. I think people miss the point on how government actually is funded, what they actually spend their money on. And here's the other thing that's really pernicious is the fact that when you look at 2023's budget, $6 trillion budget, $4 trillion in tax revenue, which means that you're running a deficit of $2 trillion for the year. And the proposed budget for 2025 is like $7.3 trillion. How much do you think of tax revenue we're going to collect? That's another at least $2 trillion added to an already $34 trillion debt. It's just insanity. We need to spend less money. And they got people here like Malcolm that are just like, no, we got to spend it on this, spend it on that. If you don't spend it on this, what about that 5-year-old? It's like, no. You know what? At this point, with $34 trillion in debt, fuck that 5-year-old.
This country can easily spend a lot less money if it stopped going to war. If it looked to seek peace, we literally can knock off $1 trillion.
Actually, Hikmet, with all due respect, if you think that military spending is the biggest expense, you've been lied to. Mandatory spending makes up 2/3 of the budget.
I ain't saying it was the biggest, but
and hold on. And of that discretionary spending, that 1/3, only half of that goes to defense spending. So you've literally, when you do the math, 1/6 of the budget goes to military, 2/3 go to mandatory spending, which is Social Security, Medicare, and SNAP. So if you want to cut some things, why don't you start talking about cutting?
Can we include the black budget? Because that's not part of the budget. Like the military get almost $800 billion every year just for the regular spending. But we all know it's other lots of money, tons, over $1 trillion that's spent in the black budget that's not accounted for. So this country have a very serious war problem that needs to stop.
I wouldn't be so quick to end that military budget and try to, complain about the wars, because right now the manufacturing for the weapons, that's actually employing a lot of sectors of our economy right now, and that's what Biden administration is using to help float this economy right now, along with immigration.
That money can be easily repurposed onto something else to create other jobs, like infrastructure and other things, building up the schools. That it would create tons of jobs. If you could spend $2 trillion a year building up this country, it would create tons of jobs, opposed to just the military that want the elitists in the military that's sucking up all the money. Like that shouldn't be where the money is going. War should not be where all the money is going. I ain't say all of it, but that much money should be going to war every year.
Yeah, but in order to prevent war, you have to spend lots of money in the military. So you're right that you can prevent wars, but you still have to spend a lot of money on the military.
I could possibly agree with that. I don't know exactly what you mean, but I mean, even if you did, it wouldn't last forever. It wouldn't be perpetual $2 trillion every year.
You
really
knew.
keep peace.
You need the highest. You need the strongest military in order to keep peace. Because this is always the problem. There's always bad actors out there. So if you seek peace, you'll get something like 94%. This like every society they show. Percent that are going to try to exploit it. The only way to do it is to have the biggest, baddest. But if you ever allow the military to slip, you're going to have serious.
Hey, Mir, using the Matrix for most of that. I don't know if I was the only one that missed. No, I'm on the phone. Yeah, I missed most of that.
Hey, Akima, you always have something to say, man.
What'd you say, Gringo?
You smoke that za?
I do smoke Zai, but I'm not turning gay up.
You're not sucking dick. Okay, that's cool.
That's not possible. I don't give a fuck if I smoke 10 pounds of Zai. I would never do no silly shit like that.
Yeah, I don't want to change it to yesterday's subject, but it had me cracking up all day long, man.
But he might be on to something, though. I can't just discredit him. I mean, there's some stuff in there that makes sense, but.
Hey, would you ever homeschool your kids?
I plan on doing. I have a second grader that I plan on homeschooling by the time the fourth grade, and I have a 5-month-old I plan on homeschooling. But I have 9 other kids that I was nowhere near in the position to homeschool. I wish I did, but I would love to.
I'm about to run, man. But should I end this room?
If Mir is here, you can mod Mir up and see if he come back and just go from there. I know nobody Roger will have a problem with mod up Mir. So mod up Mir and just we'll sit around and see if we build back up a conversation and go from there.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't deliver right now, man. I'm just kind of busy.
No, it's all good. We understand.
Palestinian state. I think that if you're looking at the history of it, generally speaking, when these wars happen, Israel has been, I believe, morally in the right. Most of the time they've been attacked, except for in 73, which I think is a pretty good reason to believe that was a necessary preemptive strike. I will say, Israel certainly doesn't shy away from taking territory given the opportunity, given the fact that they're attacked. Maybe they shouldn't. But it's also, we don't have the alternate timeline in which Israel was never attacked and never given justification to take land. I also am interested by your framing of this UN convention, whereas I know the UN also explicitly considers targeting civilians a war crime. So I'm not exactly sure why you would suggest that this says they're able to use terrorism in efforts to achieve self-determination. And I'll read more about that.
Targeting civilians, in other sovereign countries, right? But they are targeting civilians within the borders demarcated to them, the Palestinians, in the 1967. I mean, you like to complicate all that history. I mean, the name says that, oh, two-state solution. What two states are we talking about? China and Russia? Of course not. We're talking about Palestine and Israel. So you're going to conflate a bunch of Ottoman Empire, ancient history. Well, not that ancient, but you know what I mean, right? To make it unnecessarily more complicated than it really is. Two-state solution, Israel and Palestine. It's really clear.
Hey, can I interject a word here? It's called moral relativism.
I'd like to hear Fayaz, please.
Hold on. Let Fayaz go. You just came.
Okay, thanks. No, see, you got to go back to, I think Kevin said that there was nothing called Palestine. Palestine existed even before the name Israel came up. In 1917.
Are you sure about that, Fayaz?
No, it didn't. No, why don't you let me complete, Doc? Don't steal my time.
Well, I mean, dude,
don't steal my time. I know you love to steal. Don't steal my time. Don't steal my time.
Your lie is a lie.
Okay, fine. That's okay. If I'm lying, you can bust it later on. But don't steal my time. That seems to be the...
Time is just a concept, Fayaz. It doesn't exist. It's a concept. Grow up.
Listen. Why are you guys so jumpy, Listen. 1917.
Because you keep lying.
Dude, let him speak. Come on.
Hey, how about start at 131, Emperor of Rome? I think his name was.
Why don't you just let him speak? It looks bad. It's bad luck, okay? We don't need to interrupt him. Let him speak.
1917 Balfour Declaration was for Palestine. It wasn't written in the document. The name of Israel did not exist in the document. It was written Palestine. Palestine was going to
Hakima, you are a dummy. I heard you yesterday. You are a dummy.
And in 1947, Resolution 181 doesn't talk about Israel being divided into the Arab Quarter and the Israeli...
Are you a clown, Hakima?
Only when I stay at the Holiday Inn.
Who did that whole Holiday Inn Express thing? Was that Snoop Dogg?
Dr. Dre.
I mean, it was a whole bunch of people, right? That was their whole marketing campaign. Was I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express?
Yeah, I ain't see no black people.
What? Come on. Okay, I'm in a room called IDF Killing Children. This is a China guy.
I don't mean one question. If you have the Apple.
One question.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, yeah, Doc, you make us look like
motherfucking Christ.
So I'm just going to respond. The claim that there was no region which was referred to as Palestine is incorrect. Sometimes people say that. What I mean when I say that is there was no independent Palestinian state. There was a region that people referred to as Palestine, but the people in that region didn't have a national identity.
Oh my God, Hulk Hogan died.
To whether or not what's going on now is right or wrong.
Hulk Hogan finally kicked the butt?
It was an area that was controlled by the Ottomans. Most of the people who lived there considered themselves to be Southern Syrians. But the point is, there was a nation state.
It's probably what it was.
Occupied by a people who belonged to that nation state called Palestine. It was a region on a map.
Can I?
Yeah, but doesn't mean. Hold on. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a national or at least an ethnic identity, right? And furthermore, the reason why we talk about that because you're conflating, the Roman, the Ottoman Empire, and all that. I'm just saying that the two-state solution, which are the two states that we are talking about, Israel and Palestine. Those are two states we're talking about. And the reason why the Palestinians, employ acts of terrorism, and I admit that they're acts of terrorism, but they are not terrorist group because according to the UN, they have the right to self-determination, and when their lands are being occupied because it violates the 1967 UN partition for the two-state solution.
I mean, you do realize we have to laugh when you say they're not terrorists. They murdered 1,200 people on October 7th. I just saw a video yesterday of a Palestinian shooting a young girl's brains out while two other ones ran and he shot them too. So if you don't think that's terrorism, you live in a garden and you are literally, absurd.
I did did just say that they employ acts of terrorism, but they are not considered terrorist group, right, under the UN, because they are a people under occupation, and people under occupation, according to the UN, has the right to self-determination, struggle by all available means, which includes terrorism.
Wait, if Hamas is its own government and Iran, Israel has nothing to do with Hamas and how it governs itself within the Gaza, how is that an occupation when Hamas is its own government and they're the ones that fuck their own people?
Well,
Gaza,
can they control who comes into their own country? Right, if they are actually an independent government, which is not the case.
Here we go again. These are like arguments that we've heard over and over again for years. They're pointless.
John, they are the truth.
The
Gaza was under a
Palestinians
blockade.
67
Kevin, give me a minute, Kevin.
Okay, sure.
Gaza was under a blockade for 17 years. Nothing could come in or go out without the apartheid state.
Listen, you're like a bunch of CRT, BLM, LGBTQ. All you do is complain. Let's hear your solutions and your plans. I don't need the history hypnosis lesson this early in the morning.
You have, John, not a single, no Palestinian dog. Are you high again? Don't go to Afghanistan and kill anybody.
I mean, you do realize that Israel isn't the only country that borders Gaza.
Kevin, let me respond to that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin, let me respond to that.
Why Egypt was also.
Let me respond so that I can address that issue also. So everything was controlled under the control of the apartheid state. Nothing could come in, nothing could go out.
Here we go with buzzwords like apartheid state. Fayez, let's just hear your plans for the future. I don't have time for the history hypnosis bullshit. I know the history and I've heard everything you're going to say.
You don't have to listen, John. You don't have to listen, my friend John. You don't have to listen to me. So the apartheid state literally controlled the air routes, sea routes, and land routes. It controlled what came in and what went out. So even if Gaza was supposed to be independent, it wasn't independent. Now, coming to the Egyptian border, yes, Egypt could have opened the border, the Rafah border. But then Egyptian Al-Sisi is a real Sisi. You know, he was under the control of Mossad and the US, and he wouldn't do anything. He is their puppet. So he had to block the routes. He's playing to the tunes of the US and the apartheid state. So
is America an apartheid state?
They opened it. They didn't.
Is America an apartheid state?
They get to reject the 67 borders, and then they get to run back and say, hey, look, you got to respect these borders that we rejected. So I don't really understand even the point of bringing it up. And once again, you have to point to the war in which it wasn't justified for Israel to engage, okay? Like, you have to point to that war. I mean, if you want to argue that, like, the 73 preemptive strike, like, wasn't necessary, we can talk about that, or whatever. But like I said, Israel, I will totally admit, they absolutely take land when given the opportunity. But goddamn, do the Palestinians give Israel a lot of opportunities to legitimately take land? I mean, that's you start a war with someone and they take a bit of your land, okay? You don't get to go crying back to the UN saying, oh, you have to respect these borders that we rejected.
First of all, regardless if they rejected initially, right? I think there are political forces that were preventing. First of all, from their point of view, these are Palestinian lands to begin with. You are, white European, Eastern European settlers, right? They're encroaching on that land. I mean, I'm sure
70% are not European. 60-70% are Middle Eastern Jews.
All their land, right? And it's not hard to, put yourself in their shoes and say, hey, this is all. Why should we even give an inch to you, foreign settlers, right? Secondly, regardless if they reject it or not, it is the UN resolution, which is, by international law, deemed legal, right? And thirdly, what you said about, if given the opportunity, the Israelis will actually encroach on more land, then what's preventing a false flag? Which a lot of people are saying that the October 7th is basically a false flag, and they saw it coming.
They let it happen with being warned. That's a fact.
Reported, Haaretz, which is the Israeli newspaper, reported Benjamin Netanyahu telling his fellow Likud party members that, why they should fund Hamas, why it is in Israel's interest to fund Hamas, right? To divide and conquer between the
So by fund Hamas, you mean allowing Qatari to enter the country. That's an incredible misrepresentation. They did not fund Hamas, okay? Should they have blocked?
I'm not done yet. Let me finish. Given any opportunity, of Palestinian aggression, they would just use it as a justification to take more Palestinian land, in violation of the 1967, two-state solution partition. It just conceivable, at least you got to admit, that the Israelis would launch false flag for that justification.
Yeah, if I was presented with evidence, I would say that. But on this point that Israel funded Hamas. Wait, no. I'm gonna respond to this point. On this point that Israel funded Hamas, this is not true. There was a debate going on as to whether or not Israel should allow Qatari funds to enter the region, which would have gone to Hamas. But look, you guys say, the Palestinians are suffering. They're in need of humanitarian aid. Are you going to block that aid because some of it might end up being used by Hamas? This is why the main criticisms of Netanyahu allowing to enter Hamas, that was a flank from the right. That was people saying that, you shouldn't allow this to happen. The money's going to go to Hamas. That was a humanitarian move to allow aid to enter the country. If you think Israel should have blocked all money going from the Middle East into Palestine, sure, yeah. That's a hardline position against the Palestinians.
What stupidity is this? Just imagine Benjamin Netanyahu trying to convince his far-right Likud party members that, we should be more humane towards the Palestinians and allow aid to come in now. No, he is appealing to their interests just that I was appealing to your self-interest. That, funding Hamas will actually perpetuate, a rift between Fatah and Hamas, and therefore makes it, easier for the Israelis to continue to do what they do, and telling that to the Likud party members. Come on.
I just want to say one thing. Allah Akbar. Fuck Israel.
Yeah, good one.
Is nobody aware of that deal that Qatar mediated, and it was the 1.5 billion or 1.2 billion dollars that were transferred via Qatar. The mediation was Qatar, and Israel paid that money to these Hamas people. Is nobody aware of that?
Yes, it is 1.4 billion. See, every money that came into that came for the Palestinians had to go through the channels, Israeli banking channels, and Israel decided who got the money. And at that point in time, Israel decided that it's better to pay more to Hamas than to the Palestinian Authority. So they let $1.4 billion go to Hamas, and they wanted to starve the Palestinian Authority, which governs 17% of the West Bank today. So this was their plot. As China guy was saying, Netanyahu wanted a rift between the two factions, and he succeeded in that. And he created a Frankenstein. Now, people cannot come and complain that Hamas did this, Hamas did that. Hamas was allowed to do this by Netanyahu. And even the October 7 attack, there are experts who say that for the first 6 hours after the attack, the IDF did not react. They did nothing. It is also said, a conspiracy, that Netanyahu let it happen. He knew it is going to happen.
Yeah, we've heard this bullshit all before, Fayez. You can spend your morning spreading lies and misinformation all you want, but nobody stood down. Everybody would be as vigilant as they can be. You are so full of shit, man. It is such a fucking lie. It's not even a conspiracy theory. It's a fucking lie. It's a fucking scam communication. This is hypnosis. Fuck you, Fayez, you filthy little rat. You are a fucking propagandist, a misinformationist piece of shit, Fayez. Suck my big Ashkenazi cock. Take my gefilte fish and put it up your anus, you fucking faggot.
Okay.
Let him finish. Yeah, go on, Fayez.
Netanyahu did let them die. I don't give
China guy, why do you allow such abusers on this app? Why do you allow such people?
China guy, really?
I am being respectful. I may disagree with this guy.
Gaslight! Gaslight!
Basically,
Gaslight! Gaslight!
basically,
Gaslight!
he created a
Gaslight!
study Frankenstein. Now he cannot come back.
Oh, he's in the matrix. Anyway,
China guy, really quick, did you remove anybody from the room? By any chance?
just a dog guy.
So to pose my question again, I would absolutely accept the 1967 borders. I'm wondering if the Palestinian supporters in this room would.
No, nobody's going to support anything. It's only one state solution, and it's Palestine group.
Yeah, see, exactly. I think
Exactly.
that's the
You
truth.
even cannot, you will not even muddle those politics for 75
Right, this is why you guys are going to lose, because you're high on your own supply and you don't recognize any of the political realities. Okay?
Yeah,
You're
that's
not
why
getting all of Israel. You're not getting all of Israel. It's just not happening, dude. You're losing
Obviously,
this
it won't
war.
happen, man.
Well, it
Obviously, it
hasn't
won't
been happening for the last 75 years. When are you going to stop fighting? Okay? Like, actually, let your people prosper.
Stop begging. I guess something might happen. I do agree with Kevin on this one. A bit more pragmatic. You know, why aim at a target that you can't reach, right? It's counterproductive, honestly. But go
It's called delusions of grandeur.
I tell you why, Chen. I tell you why. Because the Jews are the most cunning and most coward people in the world. That's what So you have to understand that.
Are you Pakistani, bro?
No, I'm not Pakistani. I mean,
How do you know that they are so cunning? How do you have any evidence, sir?
I tell you how.
Hold on, John. Okay, I think enough with your outbursts. You know, one more time, and then I might have to.
It's okay. I would rather go study something. You can go fuck yourself, you CCP agent, little rat. Suck my Ashkenazi dick as well, faggot. Bye, faggots.
Bye. See you later.
Ludwig, you Muslim white turd, you can suck my Ashkenazi cock as well, faggot. Oh, that's it. That's the end of that one. Bye, China guy.
So they end up doing things to kind of fuck themselves. When what they should do is say, the way we do SAT, the way we do SAT, the way we do SAT, the way we do voter ID, the way we do voter
white
ID.
turd.
So what Democrats should do on the voter ID, this is not to change the substitute example, is rather than saying get rid of voter ID, which we're not going to do, just next time you have the government, fund a bill that pays for everybody that doesn't have an ID to get the proper ID to get the bill. Set up NGOs to get the old black lady in the side, way back up in Texas, whose grandfather was free from Juneteenth, and because she can't find the birth certificate because the Negro didn't get a birth certificate, she can't get a voter ID, and therefore voter IDs is racism. Oh my Lord. Just actually set up some institutions, some NGOs, whatever, and go get the lady an ID and let her register to vote. But instead they throw the whole thing out and produce backlash. Same thing on the SAT. So what Dartmouth found was by getting rid of the SAT, they actually weren't able to identify and give the bump up to the kinds of students, low income, i.e. black, brown, etc., whatever your BIPOC word is, today for the day to help them. So liberals have to be a little bit smarter in how they respond. You can't respond to rank stupidity with rank stupidity. And that's where I think liberals have to get a little bit better. And shout out to the breaking news, Candace Owens got.
What? Candace Owens got fired? That's a new.
Yeah, she got fired this morning.
That's something.
He went on the breakfast.
Say it ain't so, man. Say it ain't so.
Let me ask this question real quick, and I'm gonna mute my mic. Right? I just want to see throughout the room how you feel about this.
Oh, good morning to you, my dear brother. How you doing?
Oh, shalom. What's going on, everybody?
Oh, shalom Shabbat. I live by that. Get it out of here.
Avenu shalom alechem.
I know a little Hebrew, Tina. I know a little Hebrew. Don't get it.
I know a little Yiddish.
Shalom.
That's Hebrew. Yiddish will be schmaltzy. I'm being schmaltzy today.
It's Shamal if you're
all
talking
the
to one
same.
person.
All the same.
It's Shalom if you're talking to a whole group of
Let's see if you guys have noticed this the way I have, right? And it's not just on this app. It's period. It's all around that I come across. I can't throw this universally on everybody, but I come across it, so I can only assume that someone else comes across it as well. When it comes to the diverse communities of people in America, whether you want to do it by race, culture, whatever, right? If we exclude black people, whenever someone has a grievance about what has been done to them, what is being done to them, or what will be done to them, ears hit the ground and listen to the buffaloes, right? Everybody has this onset level of compassion, understanding, this information to prove, to aid, to guide, and coming to the conclusion that what they're saying is something that is an actuality. But when it comes to the black community, people tend to get together, and this is no ballot to anybody on the panel or in the audience, this is just what I come across. People tend to get together and say, well, it's not really that bad, or it's not really what you think, or that's something that happened before, it's not happening now, right? So why is it when it comes to the black community and what has been done to them, what is being done to them, and what will continue to be done to them in the future, people turn deaf ears and blind eyes and a mute mouth. But when it comes to other cultures, everybody pitches in with their yays, right? Well, why do you think that is? That question's for anybody. It's not for one specific person.
I'm sorry, I got lost in the words. Could you repeat like the last sentence?
Are you serious? You got lost?
Yeah, I tried to be extra clear and articulate myself.
You were very clear, Joe. You were not clear.
racism.
Oh, racism is bad.
I wasn't listening, so if you want a white man's opinion, you can repeat it.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta shorten your question. People have short attention span.
Yeah, I was.
This is early on.
My options were I could either watch golf or listen to Joe. I chose golf. But if you want,
Hey, it's no problem. There's a ballot box, and the ballot box says anybody place a ballot in. It doesn't require yours in specific, so you can slide your thumb over the mute button.
That's fine.
And enjoy your TV show. All right.
Hello?
Racism.
I mean, if you want to call it racism, it's your choice. I'm asking everybody their opinion. I'm not going to say you're incorrect or correct.
So just to clarify, because I'm a Gen Z with a short attention span, but I was listening though.
yes. Nobody heard the whole question.
No,
Just repeat the question itself.
But I'm pretty sure your question was something along the lines of, how come when it comes to black people, they don't ever want us to get our shit back?
Not necessarily that, no. I was talking specifically about situations, and I'll keep it short and make this as third grade as possible. When it's black people, it's not really happening. When it's other people, it's national news. Is that clear?
I can answer this.
Like you said, racism.
What are you talking? What's happening?
Hold on.
What are you talking
We
about?
know. Well, hold on. We POC and black people and.
Send me videos, buddy. You just sent me videos yesterday.
How was your cousin doing yesterday?
You just sent me the videos of you sucking your sister yesterday, man.
Is he better than your
Don't
brother?
lie.
Is he better
Don't lie.
than your brother? Is he better than your brother? Is your cousin better than your brother?
Is your mother better than your sister?
We don't do that shit. Only Muslims do that
Yes, you
shit.
do. You sent me your video yesterday. Don't you remember?
We don't do that shit.
But you sent me the videos. I have proof.
Muslims lie. It's called taqiyya.
I don't talk
You know
to
what's
Muslims.
taqiyya? Yeah. You know what's
I'm a
taqiyya?
Canadian white pagan witch, bitch. Wow.
Rihanna.
I'm not a fucking Muslim.
Asinom, what is a Canadian pagan witch? Is that is? Do you work for Justin Trudeau, your prime minister? What do you do exactly for him?
I do magic spells for him and make people believe his lies.
She laid some cocaine for him.
Well,
Yes.
if that's true, I mean, have you been successful? Have you been successful? Because clearly I get the feeling you're really doing quite well. I believe that everyone's believing his lies. So congratulations.
I guess they are.
What's your secret to
He's
success?
cocaine off my asshole all night.
You're the classy
When
one.
it gets stuck in your asshole because it's kind of moist, it's far better to snort cocaine off your tits than your asshole.
Oh, Swifty and Kala, before we continue down Asinom's schizophrenic white trash piece of shit route, I would like to bring some positivity to the room and read a poem by Rumi, the great Persian philosopher and poet.
Oh, salam.
Okay, Mr. Cheeseburger Dude.
That's right, you cocaine-sniffing, occultish, Wiccan witch. You demon, go back to hell, Satan. We cast you into the pits of hell, demon. Back to hell, Satan.
No, mercy.
What the fuck is this?
He's a Republican.
I can enjoy
Oh, he's here. He's modded. This mother chode.
He's the,
Okay, hold on.
Stop smoking cigarettes, fat ass, and go to the gym, you filthy witch. You vile satanic demon.
I'm in Canada. I got a cold because it's cold here.
You mother chode, you Indian cunt, answer me. Before I fucking slaughter a cow in front of you and tell you to drink this fucking cow piss and worship a cow, you fucking whore.
What nationality are you? What nationality are you?
Yeah.
Not yours.
It's better to be nothing than to be something.
Yeah.
I'm Israeli.
Are you Jewish or are you Arab Israeli?
She's a Christian, and she lives in Sweden. She's
I'm Jewish.
Oi, Rabbeinu Shalolim. This is the Shabbos Alert Detection System. We have detected another Yid who is using electronic devices outside of our Shulchan Aruch protocols. We will be notifying your local rabbi and requesting that he ban you from any future fun gatherings. Rabbeinu Shalolim.
Abote, hello. What do you say about Islam?
Islam can lick my ass.
I think it's quite kinky. I like it. And, you know, the whole thought of walking 10 paces behind your man, kneeling in front of your man. Honestly, I would get so turned on if a man forced a hijab on my head and just made me sit in the kitchen.
And then, like, came home after work and
that would be
perfect.
No one loves me enough to force a hijab on my head and put me in the kitchen, unfortunately. I haven't been picked yet. And it makes me quite sad because, like, what are you saying? I'm not pretty enough? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's wrong? Why haven't you shoved me in the kitchen already? Makes me quite sad.
Yeah, why haven't you shoved me down in the kitchen already?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Muhammad was a sexual pervert who engaged in sadomasochistic, abusive, vulgar behavior? The prophet of the entire religion of 1 billion people was a Satanist?
I'm saying that Muslims are kinky, and they're very kinky.
So you're Muslim?
Well, I think they have great sex, to be honest. I'm not even going to lie about that.
Have you ever seen a Palestinian Hamas jihadist ISIS fighter fuck 3 of his wives before engaging in battle against glorious, courageous IDF soldiers? It happens. Where do you think they get their superpowers from? It's from the Palestinian pussy. Never underestimate that pussy can bend steel. And the Islamic Palestinian jihadist resistance pussy is the best super pussy in the world.
Pussy power.
Yeah, well, I I do think that right, if you put a hijab on a woman and cover her from head to toe, right, and then you flash a nipple for 2 seconds and cover it up, it has more of an effect upon the man than if he sees the nipple 24/7 because of the shock value. So if you really want to get your man excited and get him a dynamite, like a dynamo in the bedroom, you have to cover it up most of the time and just tease him. Oh, you saw a little nipple while I'm in the kitchen cooking. Oh, but it's covered up again. Oh, you saw my ankle. Oh, but I've covered it up again. You know, that's how you get a good sex life. It makes no sense to have it all exposed all the time.
Let's make you a ceremony and become Muslim. Okay? Say that. Repeat after me. There is no but Allah and
Wait.
and you will be Muslim.
Because that's not part of the deal. I said someone needs to grab me and shove a hijab on my head first. I'm not becoming Muslim before that happens.
You grab you, no problem. I will bring you many Muhammads who will grab you from their house.
Are you sure you can carry my ass up the stairs even? You haven't even asked how much I weigh. Do you go to the gym? Do you go to the gym?
I would bring you many Muslims who are going to the gym and they will drag you from their feet.
Many Muslims to drag you. What the fuck?
They will drag you from the hair in a sexy way. I mean, they will until you will
I want them to
in
punch
the
me in the
back.
face too.
And then they will make it two of them gangbang on you.
Shut up, you filthy cow.
How is it a gangbang if it's only 2? That's called a threesome.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not experienced enough to know the difference.
You're not a very good Muslim, are you, Swifty? If you don't
No, he's not. He's sexually frustrated as well. That's why he's opening these rooms.
I will bring you
Titles like this.
by the way, by the 5 Muslims.
Nobody cares, Swifty. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares.
I'll believe it when
Shut up. Shut up.
You will be a Muslim, by the way.
I'm not Muslim.
And then yeah.
To be honest, fuck all religions.
Do you want Turkish guys or Egyptians?
No one wants Turkish guys, let's be honest.
Nobody wants Turkish or Egyptian. Ew.
Egyptian's better than Turkish.
You want Iraqi?
Ew! It's just getting worse. What the fuck is this?
Algeria, Saudi.
I like Algerian. No, Saudi. Oh my god. Can you shut up, please? Why are you? Why?
Maybe they're very handsome, but they're not very good at relations.
No, fuck no. Fuck no.
You want black Muslim?
I want a Palestinian man because they're handsome. I want a Palestinian man.
Palestinian man.
Or like Algerian or Moroccan.
We have to convert Islam.
No, I found my Christian Palestinian. It's okay. He's Christian like me.
I found you, Yusuf Haddad. You know him?
Yeah, of course I do.
So marry with him. You will fight with him. He loves Israel and you hate Israel, so it's good relationship.
No, it's not good.
Here.
Because if he loves Israel, then he's not Palestinian anymore.
I believe that is right.
Yeah, you want to tell him he's not Palestinian. You say that he's not Palestinian.
Who the fuck muted me?
Only John and Swifty have beef.
So I was talking with a very important person yesterday who's on the in and the no of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and what's going to happen over there. And he told me that it's going to be the biggest startup in the world once Hamas is crushed and all the fighters are killed or taken captured and imprisoned, because it's going to be the biggest biometric database ever created in 30 days. Guess what the name of the corporation is that already has the contract to do the biometric verification of every Palestinian?
Where's Gigi? Gigi? No time at 10.
450 degrees Celsius.
Shut up.
Stay away from ovens, you fucking dirty kite bastard. Israel will burn because it's not right under the eyes of God, you bitch. Fuck you. The fuck you racist ass Zionists, motherfucker. To help burn the Jews. You know what's crazy? The fucking Zionists help with the Holocaust. You don't even like your own self.
Good bro. You spitting fast.
Hitler was a Jew.
You spitting
Jews,
fast.
motherfuckers.
Where is that Indian cow?
Hashtag KTP.
Leon,
make a room.
Okay. You fucking rat. You're a fucking human trafficking ass, cannibalism ass bastard.
Oogly moogly motherfucker. Okay, please.
I think it's amazing if you listen to what KTP is saying, what he's actually doing is projecting. So I suggest you listen excuse me, I would suggest that everyone listen to what everybody, excuse me, a moderator is speaking here, Voldemort. Listen very carefully. Listen very carefully to what everyone says, because that is their internal projection, and everything they project on other people is generally what they are guilty of doing of. So listen very carefully. Listen to KTP and Voldemort. Everything they say about other people, all their gossip and lashon hara, you do realize it's just your inner shadow. It's you that you're speaking about. It's not me or anyone else. You're literally screaming out about yourself. It's called projection. Try to read a book every once in a while, and you will dehypnotize yourself from being morons.
Shut up, John. Okay, nobody cares about you. You're also sexually
Excuse me? See, listen to the projection. Listen carefully. I am now done speaking.
I say it's a projection. Literally everything. If I say, John, go shit yourself, it's a projection. John, go eat, it's a projection. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares.
See, those are very basic, asinine comments. My point is, listen to what everybody says on Clown House from now on, and you will see that it's a total projection of that person's reality, his consciousness, his identity.
What do you think is the problem in here?
I'm trying to discuss an important psychological principle. It's a maxim and an aphorism called projection.
I have a degree in psychology.
John, you're a psychopath, okay?
My point is, all communication is hypnosis.
You wanna record this room, John, and put it on fucking YouTube, Twitter? Is that what you wanna do?
Are you projecting right now?
I'm gonna eject.
You guys are all sick in the head, okay? Projecting my ass. What the fuck? Period.
Are you projecting? Who wants to project next? Welcome to Islam Brings Only Negativity!
Islam brings positivity! Whoever is muting me... I'm ejaculating.
Okay, co-moderators Swifty, Bell, thank you for moderating me so we can bring in the Shekhinah, the Shabbos, Rabbeinu, Shaloiloim, Geikachen, Lichtbegin, Leinoigen, and Fushta. I would like to sing the Shema to my fellow glorious IDF soldiers fighting in the Gaza Strip for complete and total victory and the absolute subjugation of the Palestinian Hamas ISIS jihadist terrorists. Victory is coming soon, and once the IDF wins, the most glorious victory parade will be held in Rafah. In every Palestinian town, liberation is coming to the Muslims in all of these lands. Congratulations, Rabbeinu Shalom. That was the title of my first track called Gaslight. 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 It's a new jazz ensemble I have. It's called Gaslight. What we do is we try to gaslight as many people as possible to prove that they don't have emotional intelligence and that they're being hypnotized into an emotional state of mind. It's called gaslight. Gaslight.
Asshole.
Akino, tell us what's going on in Gaza now.
What's going on in what?
Gaza. You see
You
this.
know what? I got no fucking idea.